Welcome to the Lockdown Economy, a series of interviews by the think tank AlterContacts, where the real entrepreneurs share their insights. My name is Yulia Skupchenko, and today my guest is Bisila Bokoko, the CEO of BBES International. Hello, Bisila, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm very well, thank you. Tell me, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York City.
Excellent. And straight to it, what is BBES International?
BBES International is a company that I started back in 2012 to help entrepreneurs who want to go international. So basically, one of the big dreams of every person who have a product or a brand, or even a person that want to market themselves overseas, I like to provide that kind of guidance and give them the keys to open up to new markets and new opportunities somewhere else. So that's what BBS does. And I also help business to grow, people to grow, and I'm a speaker.
Excellent. And so how did you deliver your services previously? So I'm just trying to understand how was the situation before the lockdown?
Well, before the lockdown, my business was very personal because it was all about people. So obviously it was very intense for me when the whole lockdown started, because I said, then I have no business. What is my business? My business is personal touch. And also because when you advise someone, it's very personal. You want to look that person in the eye. You want to be in their company. You need to understand also their facilities, their products, their brand, and for that you need to travel. So that's one of the reasons why I travel so often, is because I like to be with the companies that I advise. In another hand, my role like a speaker, I also need people to speak with, an audience. And in this case, I had 8 months booked in advance and everything fell down. As a matter of fact, when the lockdown started, I was in Spain. I have to run back to the United States before they close the frontiers. And I was asking myself, now what? Because when a business is so personal, based in people, it was a big question mark for me. What is going to be the next steps and how that is going to impact my business from now on?
And when the lockdown happened in your country, what was your first reaction? So from now, what was your, or maybe the first action that you took?
My first reaction, like everyone else, was surprise, because I actually was one of the people who didn't believe this so much. I was a little bit in the skeptical side, and I was thinking, no, it's not going to be so huge, but it became very huge. And the first 2 weeks were weeks of trying to ask myself, what should I do with my business? And I was in a little bit paralyzed. But then I realized, you know what, this could be a tremendous opportunity, and I need to kind of reinvent myself through that situation. And always this moment is an opportunity. So I have learned, like an entrepreneur, through my journey, and it's a long journey already, that no matter what happens, you might face an emotion. Fear is the first thing that comes, and maybe doubt. And all of these emotions, you handle them. I mean, you look them in the eye, you accept that they are there, and then you take action. And then my action was, okay, I'm going to create a YouTube channel where I could continue doing this kind of advices that I gave before. But I'm going to come in from a place of humanity. Just share what you have for others. And that's basically what I did. It was I knew that I have material that I normally share in conferences, so I could share with others, and also with my Zoom conference, advice to different people. It's not the same way, of course, because human touch is great, but I found a way. And also I have to negotiate different rates, and at some points always doing for free, which is also scary, because you're thinking, okay, if I don't have income, how am I going to survive now? But I realized that right now the only problem that I need to solve is to stay active, because once the lockdown finished, I wanted to be active. And if you stay 2 or 3 months without activity, just asking yourself what to do, people will forget you. And in this case, I realized that no matter what, if I don't have the income that I was expecting, it's fine, but it's still, being an entrepreneur is an act of service. And that's the first number one rule, I think, of an entrepreneur. Understand why are you an entrepreneur?
And is it something that helped you? You mentioned that at the very beginning, you had the fear. You were not sure about what the lockdown, and you were not sure about what to do with your business. So, was there any specific thought or something else that helped you to get through to the other side?
Well, I understood that this was, first of all, not the first time, that it's always going to feel, we're always going to be facing something. Sometimes you face it personal and sometimes you face it globally. This was not my first crisis like an entrepreneur. So I realized that it's okay to connect with the fear, understanding where it's coming from, because if you kind of only in denial, it's also not good because it's going to pop up somewhere. And then I realized that I needed to relax and be confident about myself. And you realize, you know what? No matter what happens, you are still an entrepreneur and you have ideas. And if you know that your knowledge and your ideas are going with you, if the world change, if you need to change business or go into another city, you still have your gift within you. So that's what I thought to myself. I realized, okay, maybe I have to make changes. Maybe New York is never going to be the same, but I could be that same person. I still have that gifts that make me become an entrepreneur in the first place. And sometimes we forget as entrepreneurs that our gifts, that they're not outside. The global economy, everything that we tell our stories, that how it's going to affect us. The thing is that when you have that drive to create something, if you are innovative, creative, and you just jump to offer something to others, it's within you. So once you understand that, no matter what's going on around you, you're going to find a place to create something, because that's where creativity comes from a place of calmness, of confidence in yourself.
I think it's a beautiful thought. It's very, very inspiring, especially the way you put it. It's almost made me feel like uplifted. And I hope that people who are watching this and they still are doubting what to do next, when they hear this, maybe they will feel inspired to do, to push, to move on and find their path. But tell me, have you connected with your previous clients or current clients during the lockdown? And what was the interaction?
Most of them, they were, let's put things on hold. The first thought of people when there is something going on is to stop everything. And particularly the things that they're not what they consider essential. So if you are a luxury because you take care of personal branding, like in my case, or you take care of marketing, all of these things, or it might like a consultancy, it's an extra service. It's something that they don't consider essential. So in this case, they froze. And the first reaction was like, we need to stop right now. And I understood that because I also am an entrepreneur, and I know also that people were having a problem with cash flow. And when you, as an entrepreneur, have a cash flow problem, the first thing is to see where you're going to cut expenses. And I understood, but I think I still was present. And it's very important, don't get frustrated. Be there for them. And sometimes it's even better to continue to provide service. And that's one thing I have done, is to continue to provide service to some people, just for them to know that you're doing this as an act of service. It's not all about the money. And if you are able to nurture that relationship through this time, not only thinking about yourself, thinking also about everybody else, what is going to happen is that eventually it's going to pay off. It's always whatever you give is going to come back to you. So I did that. I've been in touch with all of them. I actually, some people who I haven't heard from them in a long time, in years, they came back. So you might be surprised when you are open to just give.
That's wonderful. And so in terms of collaboration, well, connection with clients, you saw that there was a lot of fruits already, even if they were not paying, there was still something happening. But you mentioned that one of the things you started is the YouTube channel, the YouTube videos. And I'm aware that it has been a thought of many people to do that alternatively to what they were previously doing. So how do you assess your competition? What was your market research? How did you, what was your thinking process there?
The first rule for me, I don't know for others, is to never look at the other guy. I stay in my way. And I know what is my way, and I don't look right and left, because otherwise I get confused and you start to compare with each other. And I think this is a big fear, that people is focusing so much on what the competition is doing and what other people do, that you end up forgetting, why are you doing this? You just do what you do and someone is going to connect with you. So when I started the YouTube channel, I did it and I said, if I only have one like and I have only one subscriber, it's okay. It's not a big deal, because I'm just starting like everybody else at some point. And the thing is that so many times we are giving up our power to create, because we're in the victim mentality. The victim is always thinking about others. Oh my God, this person already have this person already have that. That is what I call the victim mentality. We have to be in the creator mentality. The creator mentality has no time to focus on what the competition is doing or anything. And even if the competition is doing great or they copy you, you know that you're doing something amazing. That's why they copy you. So in this case, just think about your path, your thing, and don't be distracted by what is going on around you.
And I think you're absolutely right in many things that you said just now. And I think it connects to the entrepreneurial drive and the gift that you mentioned before. And so what about the situation on your market right now? So is it still under the lockdown? And how do you assess the near future?
I think that for the next few months, it's going to be very slow. In my particular case, I already make a forecast. And I see this year that probably in the case that we continue like that and everything is open, there is not another situation. I foresee that until October, November, things would not get back in my business to normalize. And I also know that a lot of things move digital. So I could not expect the same prices and the same fees that I was charging before. So I have to do adjustments. And I know that eventually it's going to be a hybrid situation between the physical and the digital. It will be equal and probably the prices will be normalizing at the end. But it's going to take a while, and I already know that. So I think that one of the good things about being an entrepreneur is to be prepared and to understand what is the reality, and it's not a drama. So it's just now it's going to be slower, but then boom, you would just take off again.
Well, let's hope so. And you mentioned that you're also a speaker and you have had bookings for 8 months ahead. And what can you maybe advise to other speakers that are out there thinking what to do with themselves?
You see, I think that it's for the companies that they organize this event, it's extremely difficult because nobody wants to have the responsibility to put people together and then something happen, and it's a whole responsibility. And also they don't want to put the speaker in danger. So I think it's very important that we reinvent the whole speaker thing. There's many ways to deliver messages that they reach to people. So that's one of the reasons why I created the YouTube channel. Not everybody has to do that, but people could use also this time to write great books, give tips to people. There is Instagram, there is so many platforms that we could use. Everybody have a platform that they feel better. And people who is a little bit more shy to just do that, and some people don't like themselves in camera, which is perfectly okay. I think there is always, you could make a blog, you could do many things to just expose yourself. It is a matter of time, and the same way that we move from having the videotapes to CDs, also the speaking wall is evolving, and it's going to be also part of the digital. Of course, eventually people will be back together and will love to hear and listen to people, but also we will have to be more creative, because right now you will have to give a plus to being in person. So the experience will be different. So I see that also the whole industry is transforming, and we need to understand that this is happening, and we're living in a different world where things transform, and we have to just jump into the wave of change.
Yeah, I hear in your words that you just accept what comes. You just try to adapt. You just try to do the best you can, and it's wonderful. And also from what you said about the speakers, it sounds to me like your advice really goes to people who speak not for the money, but for the message, for the joy of sharing whatever there is in their heads with the people. And in that case, of course, all the different methods that you mentioned could be an excellent way to do that.
And the money will come. Also, I mean, I want to make sure that like any entrepreneur, we all want to make money. This is not means to be an act of service. Doesn't mean that we don't love money. I do love money, and I know how everybody wants to make money and we need it to live. The only thing is that it's going to take some readjustments, and then we're going to be able to rebuild the field in a way that our fees will be basically profitable for every part involved. Right now, everybody has to make adjustments. And part of being an entrepreneur is to be flexible and adaptable. And when we are flexible and adaptable, we know that at the end it's a win-win situation because the whole economy is changing. We will get to a comfortable position. But I think if we just paralyze and we say, oh, the business is going bad, I could not pay these bills and this is this and that, then we are telling ourselves a narrative that is not going to take us out of this situation. It's going to dip more into the situation.
So if I understand correctly, your vision is that eventually the things will normalize, but it will be a completely different world. And as long as we are staying active and we're doing something, whether it's for money or not for money or just for service, as long as we are out there listening to the wind of change, it's going to be all right. Is that right?
I'm totally positive and optimistic about it. And I think that what this situation has taught all of us is, first of all, that we need to be very flexible and that from 1 minute to another, everything could change. We were thinking that we could have control about everything, but we don't. So entrepreneurs, and I'm the first one, we are perfectionists and we like to have control about everything. So for me, the biggest lesson I learned during this time is that I could not control everything and it's fine. And I could flow with the situation and be flexible and adaptable. The economy, we know that it's changing. The world is changing. We realize how many issues are coming forward and people we are discussing. So we have to ask ourselves, is this the world that we want, the way we were living? Or we are going to a different, more holistic approach and people could do business from a better place. And eventually we all win, no? And I think also we will all be comfortable because all we're looking for comfort, and to be comfortable you need to also have prosperity in all the areas of your life.
Yes, absolutely true. And I like what you said about the fact that we are all building the new world and one entrepreneur at a time. So I hope a lot of people would listen to it, would take this on board. And thank you very much, Bisila, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. If you would like to contact Bisila, her details will be in the description below the video. I invite you to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We have more than 20 episodes of Lockdown Economy on our playlist, so I invite you to browse. And so stay tuned, and bye!